The year was 2387 when Captain Li Jiwan first saw the alien ships appear in Earth's sky. They came like silver tears falling from the stars, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Humanity had only learned to travel faster than light 3 months ago, and now they were no longer alone in the universe. The ships belonged to the Galactic Consortium, a group of 12 different alien races that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Their leader, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms, spoke to the United Nations through a translation device. "Greetings, young humans," the alien said. "We welcome you to the galactic community. You may call me High Counselor Vextar." The humans were excited. Finally, they could learn from advanced civilizations and grow beyond their small planet. Ambassador Kim Minho led the talks with the aliens. He worked day and night to make a good deal for humanity. "We offer you membership in our consortium," Vextar explained. "You will have protection, trade, and knowledge. In return, you will follow our rules and stay in the systems we give you." It seemed fair to the humans. They were new to space and needed guidance. The consortium gave humanity 5 star systems to colonize and offered them jobs working on alien worlds. Many humans were happy to leave Earth and start new lives among the stars. But something felt wrong to Dr. Choi Minji, who worked at the research station above New Geneva Colony. The aliens always watched the human scientists work. They asked many questions about human technology and took copies of all their research. "They treat us like children," she told her assistant, Park Young. "Every time we make something new, they want to study it." "Maybe they just want to help us improve," Park replied, but he sounded unsure. The human colonies grew quickly. Within 2 years, New Geneva had become a center for technology research. The humans created new types of engines that were faster than anything the consortium had seen. They built computers that could think in ways that amazed even the oldest alien races. This success made the consortium nervous. In secret meetings on their capital world, the alien leaders discussed the human problem. "They learn too fast," said Counselor Zekthon, "a reptile-like creature. In 50 years they might be stronger than us. We should have limited their breeding when we had the chance," added another member. High Counselor Vexitar nodded slowly. "The humans must be contained. If they continue to grow, they will upset the balance of power we have maintained for millennia." The consortium passed a secret vote. They would place heavy restrictions on human trade and block them from expanding to new systems. If the humans refused to accept these limits, they would face military action. Ambassador Kim Minho was shocked when he received the new treaty. "You want to cut our trade by 90%? And we cannot expand beyond our current systems? This will destroy our colonies." "These are the new terms," Vextar said coldly. "Accept them, or face the consequences." Kim refused to sign. He sent messages to all human worlds, warning them that trouble was coming. Admiral Kang Daiho began moving the human defense fleet to protect key colonies. The attack came at dawn on New Geneva. Dr. Choi Minji was in her laboratory when the alarm started screaming. Through her window, she saw the consortium warships, dropping out of hyperspace like hungry wolves. "This is Defense Station Alpha," came a voice over the radio. "We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack." The alien ships opened fire without warning. Their energy beams cut through the research station's shields like paper. Explosions rocked the structure as laboratories and living quarters were destroyed. Dr. Choi ran to the communication center as fires spread around her. She had to warn the other colonies. Her hands shook as she activated the emergency broadcast system. "This is Dr. Choi Minji at New Geneva Research Station," she spoke into the microphone. "The consortium has betrayed us. They are destroying our station and killing everyone aboard. Do not trust them. They fear what we might become. Prepare for war." The station shuddered as another explosion tore through the hull. Dr. Choi looked out at the human colony below where millions of people lived and worked in peace. The consortium ships were moving toward the planet, their weapons charging for another attack. "Tell my family I love them," she whispered into the transmitter, "and tell them that humanity will not surrender." The research station broke apart in a ball of fire. Dr. Choi's message spread across human space like wildfire. On Earth, in the asteroid mines, on farming worlds and trading posts, humans heard her final words. The consortium had made their choice. They saw humanity as a threat that had to be stopped before it grew too strong. They had tried diplomacy first, then economic pressure, and finally direct violence. But they had made one critical mistake. They thought humans would surrender when faced with superior force, just like all the other species they had conquered over the centuries. They did not understand that humans had never learned how to give up. Admiral Kang Deho received reports of attacks on 3 more human stations. The aliens were trying to cripple humanity's ability to fight back, but the humans had been preparing for this possibility since first contact. The Galactic Consortium ruled through fear and overwhelming power. They had never faced an enemy that grew stronger when cornered. They were about to learn what happened when humanity decided to fight back. Admiral Kang Deho stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Soul's Pride, watching the emergency reports flood in from across human space. 3 research stations destroyed, 2 colonies under siege, and thousands of innocent people dead. The consortium's message was clear: surrender or be wiped out. Sir, we have incoming transmission from Consortium High Command, reported Communications Officer Song Yuna. They're demanding we turn over all our FTL-capable ships within 24 hours. Kang looked at the stars beyond his viewport. His fleet was small compared to the massive consortium armadas, but he had something they didn't expect. Open a channel to all human worlds, he ordered. Across dozens of star systems, humans gathered around screens to hear their military leaders speak. Miners on asteroid stations, farmers on colony worlds, engineers on space platforms, all waited for his words. My fellow humans, Kang began, his voice steady and strong. The consortium believes we are weak because we are young. They think we will bow down like all the others before us. They are wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. For 2 years, while they watched us work, we have been watching them too. Every ship they sent to protect us, every piece of technology they shared, every weapon they showed us, we studied it all. On the secret research base hidden in the Kuiper Belt, Dr. Lee Soo-jin activated the screens showing humanity's greatest secret. Rows of sleek warships filled the hidden shipyard, each one built from stolen consortium designs but improved with human innovation. Captain Oh Tae-jun, Kang called over the comm, show them what we've built. Captain O was already in position near Proxima Junction, the major trade route between human and consortium space. His small fleet of 12 ships looked tiny compared to the 40 consortium vessels approaching them. Human ships, you are outnumbered, came the alien commander's voice. Surrender now and we will show mercy. O smiled grimly. This is Captain Oh Tae-jun of the Terran Defense Force. We do not surrender. The consortium ships moved into their traditional attack formation, the same pattern they had used to conquer species for thousands of years. But humanity had studied those patterns and found their weaknesses. All ships execute Phoenix formation, O commanded. The human ships split into 3 groups and moved in ways the aliens had never seen before. Instead of meeting the enemy head-on, they used their superior speed to attack from multiple angles at once. The first consortium ship to die was the flagship. Human plasma torpedoes, improved versions of alien designs, punched through its shields and tore the vessel apart. The alien commander barely had time to scream before his ship exploded. How is this possible? Shouted one of the surviving alien captains. Their weapons are stronger than ours. The battle lasted only 20 minutes. When it was over, all 40 consortium ships were destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost only 1 ship, and even that crew survived in escape pods. News of the victory spread faster than light itself. On every human world, people cheered in the streets. But more importantly, the news reached the ears of other species under consortium rule. On the slave world of Cathara, engineer Yeltara heard the report and felt something she hadn't experienced in decades: hope. Her people had been forced to build consortium ships for 300 years. Maybe, just maybe, these humans could give them a chance for freedom. Commander Park Hyung intercepted alien communications from across the galaxy. The consortium was panicking. For the first time in their history, they had been defeated in open battle by a primitive species. "Sir," Park reported to Admiral Kang, "we're getting secret messages from at least 15 different alien races. They want to know if we're really fighting the consortium." Kang nodded. "Send this message to any species willing to listen. Humanity fights for freedom, not conquest. Any who wish to throw off their chains are welcome to join us." The response was overwhelming. The Valdari, once proud warriors reduced to consortium police, began sabotaging their own equipment. The Helkani traders started passing intelligence about consortium ship movements to human agents. Even some of the minor council species began questioning their loyalty. Captain Nam Ji-hoon led the next major human victory at the mining world of Kepler 442b. His Marines fought alongside Valdari, rebels, to capture the planet's orbital defense platforms. For the first time, humans and aliens fought as equals against their common enemy. The consortium tried to respond with overwhelming force, sending their largest fleet to destroy Earth itself. But humanity's network of early warning stations, built with help from alien defectors, gave them advance notice. Admiral Kang was ready. The human home fleet, reinforced with ships from every colony, met the consortium armada at the edge of the solar system. The battle raged for 6 hours, but human tactics and superior technology won the day. As burning consortium ships fell toward the sun, Kang opened communications to the galaxy. "This is Admiral Kang Daeho of the Terran Defense Force. We did not start this war, but we will finish it. To all free beings in the galaxy, join us. To the consortium, your reign of terror is over." The tide was turning. What had started as humanity's desperate defense was becoming something larger, a galactic revolution. Species that had been slaves for centuries were remembering what it meant to be free. The consortium had awakened something they couldn't control, the human spirit of rebellion, and it was spreading across the stars like wildfire. Captain Yoon Seo-hyun checked her weapon one more time as her ship approached the secret meeting point. The abandoned space station in the Vale Nebula had been dark for 50 years, but today it would host the most important gathering in galactic history. "Are you sure we can trust them?" asked Lieutenant Kim Jae-min, watching the alien ships appear on their sensors. "We have to try," Seo-hyun replied. "We can't win this war alone." The first ship to dock belonged to the Valdari. These aliens looked like massive bears that walked on 2 legs with thick fur and sharp claws. Once they had been the fiercest warriors in the galaxy, but the consortium had broken their spirit over centuries of servitude. Thurak, their leader, stepped onto the station with heavy footsteps. His people had been forced to become police for the consortium, hunting down rebels and keeping other species in line. The shame burned in his yellow eyes. "Human captain," Thurak growled in broken English. "My people remember when we were free. The consortium took our weapons, our ships, our pride. They made us into their hunting dogs." Seo-hyun nodded respectfully. "We know your pain, but that can change." The second ship brought the Cathani, small blue-skinned aliens with large heads and delicate hands. They were brilliant engineers and scientists, but the consortium had enslaved them for 300 years, forcing them to build weapons and ships. Veltar, their representative, moved with quick, nervous gestures. "We built their fleets," she whispered, her voice like singing. "Every ship that attacks you, every weapon they use, Cathani hands made them. The guilt weighs on our souls." "Then, help us stop them," Seo-hyun said gently. Other species came too, the rock-like granite people, who had been used as living shields in consortium battles. The winged skyfolk whose beautiful voices had been turned into propaganda broadcasts. Even some from the consortium's client species, those who had joined, willingly but now regretted their choice. Colonel Han Jisoo, humanity's chief strategist, had traveled from Earth for this meeting. He looked around the room at beings from 12 different worlds, all united by their hatred of oppression. "Friends," Han said, using the universal translator, "we offer you something the consortium never has. True partnership. Not as masters and servants, but as equals fighting for freedom." Thurak slammed his massive fist on the table. Pretty words, human. But how do we know you won't become new masters when this is over? The question hung in the air. Every species in the room had heard such promises before, only to trade one tyrant for another. Xiaohyun stood up slowly. Because we're not fighting to rule the galaxy. We're fighting for the right to be left alone. When this war ends, each species should govern itself. Prove it, demanded Zekhai, a snake-like alien whose people had been conquered just 50 years ago. Han nodded to his aide, who activated a holographic display. This is our proposal for the Liberation Alliance. Every species gets equal vote in military decisions. No one commands another. We share technology freely, but no one is forced to give up their secrets. The aliens looked at each other in amazement. The consortium had never offered anything like this. They ruled through fear and force, never through cooperation. Veltar spoke first. The Cathani accept. We will give you our engineering knowledge and help build better ships. Thurak was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. The Valdari will fight beside you. Our warriors hunger for real battle, not the shameful work the consortium gave us. One by one, the other species joined the alliance. But words were easy. The real test would come in battle. That test came sooner than anyone expected. Consortium forces had discovered several rebel meeting points and were moving to crush them. The Alliance's first joint operation would be an attack on the Nexus Gates, the galaxy's most important transportation hub. Commander Nam Jihoon led the assault from his ship New Sol. Beside him flew Valdari attack cruisers and Cathani support vessels. For the first time in galactic history, former enemies fought side by side against their common oppressor. Human commander, came Thurak's voice over the comm. My warriors are ready. We will show these consortium dogs what Valdari fury looks like. Cathani ship standing by, added Veltar. Our shields will protect the fleet while you attack. The battle was fierce. Consortium defenders fought desperately to hold the gates, knowing their loss would cut the Empire in half. But the Alliance worked together perfectly, each species using their strengths to support the others. Valdari warriors boarded enemy ships with savage fury, while Cathani engineers disabled their weapons. Human marines provided covering fire while Skyfolk pilots used their incredible reflexes to outfly consortium fighters. When the gates finally fell, the victory belonged to everyone. On the command deck, Nam watched aliens from different worlds embrace each other in celebration. These beings had been enemies for centuries, but now they fought as brothers. The capture of the Nexus Gates sent shockwaves across the galaxy. If the Alliance could take such an important target, nowhere was safe for the consortium. More species began reaching out, asking to join the rebellion. But the consortium wasn't finished. Their vast fleets were gathering for one final push to destroy the Alliance before it grew too strong. The real war was just beginning, and it would test every bond these unlikely allies had formed. Still, something had changed in the galaxy. For the first time in thousands of years, the oppressed had hope, and they were no longer alone. General Li Sujin stood in the command center of Terra's Pride, watching dozens of holographic displays show Alliance fleets across the galaxy. After months of small victories, the time had come for their biggest gamble yet, a coordinated attack on 17 consortium strongholds at the same time. All fleet commanders report ready, announced Communications Officer Park Yoonji. Operation Freedom Strike begins in 10 minutes. Sujin nodded, feeling the weight of millions of lives on her shoulders. If this failed, the Alliance would be crushed and every species involved would face extinction. But if it succeeded, they could break the consortium's power forever. On the bridge of the Valdari ship Bloodclaw, Captain Thurak checked his warriors' weapons one final time. His people hadn't fought a real war in 300 years, but their battle fury still burned bright. Today we wash away centuries of shame, he roared to his crew. Today we show the galaxy what Valdari warriors can do. Across space, Cathani, Engineer Veltar made last-minute adjustments to her fleet's shield generators. Her people had built these ships in secret, using stolen consortium blueprints but improving them with techniques the aliens had never imagined. All systems optimal, she reported. The ancestors will guide our weapons true. The attacks began exactly at the planned moment. 17 consortium bases came under assault simultaneously, their defenders overwhelmed by the surprise and coordination of the Alliance forces. At the Rigel shipyards, Commander O. Taejun led his human marines in boarding actions, while Valdari warriors cleared the corridors with brutal efficiency. The consortium troops used to fighting frightened civilians couldn't handle enemies who fought back with such determination. Sector 7 cleared, reported Sergeant Lim Dong-hyuk over the comm. These alien guards run like scared children when they face real soldiers. But the consortium wasn't helpless. Their rigid command structure, which had been a weakness in smaller battles, now became an advantage. Orders flowed down from their capital world with military precision, and massive fleets began converging on Alliance positions. The battle for the Kepler mining complex became a nightmare of close combat. Human Captain Seo Mirai found herself fighting alongside a granite warrior named Stone Singer, the two of them holding a vital corridor against waves of consortium troops. "Behind you, human friend," Stone Singer rumbled, his rocky fists crushing an alien soldier who had tried to attack Mirai from behind. "Thanks, partner," she gasped, reloading her weapon. The Alliance had no formal rank structure between species, but they fought like they had trained together for years. The tide really began to turn at the Battle of Helix Station. The consortium had gathered their largest fleet there, confident they could crush any Alliance force that dared attack. They were wrong. Admiral Park Yoonji commanded the Allied fleet from the bridge of her flagship. Around her flew ships from 8 different species, each one fighting with everything they had for their freedom. "Consortium fleet is moving into attack formation," reported her tactical officer. "Same pattern they've used for 1,000 years. Then they haven't learned anything," Yoonji replied with a cold smile. "All ships, execute pattern chaos." The Alliance fleet scattered in what looked like panic, but it was actually a carefully planned maneuver. The consortium ships, following their ancient tactics, moved to surround and destroy the fleeing enemies. Instead, they flew into a trap. Hidden Cathani ships powered up their weapons from behind asteroids while human fighters attacked from above and below. The Valdari ships charged straight into the enemy formation, their warriors screaming battle cries over the comm channels. The consortium admiral tried to adapt, but his rigid training failed him. Alliance ships moved in patterns he had never seen, combining the tactics of multiple species into something entirely new. "All ships focus fire on their command vessel," Yoonji ordered. "Cut off the head and the body dies." Concentrated fire from a dozen different weapon types overwhelmed the consortium flagship's shields. The explosion lit up space like a small sun, and the enemy fleet began to fall apart without leadership. News of the victories spread across the galaxy, faster than the consortium could react. On occupied worlds, enslaved populations began to rise up. Consortium governors found themselves facing rebellions they couldn't control. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when the Skyfolk used their natural flying abilities to capture the consortium's main communication satellites. Captain Yoon Seo-hyun watched from her ship as the bird-like aliens used their wings to maneuver in zero gravity, placing explosives on the relay stations. "Communication network is down," reported the Skyfolk leader, Song of Stars. "The consortium fleets cannot coordinate anymore." With their communications cut and their fleets scattered, the consortium began to crumble. Species that had served them for centuries switched sides or simply stopped following orders. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for millennia was falling apart in weeks. General Sujin received the final report while standing on the observation deck of her ship. The last major consortium fleet had surrendered rather than face destruction. Across 17 sectors, Alliance forces had achieved total victory. "Ma'am," said her aide, Lieutenant Jang Hee-won, "we're receiving surrender offers from 12 more consortium worlds. They want to join the Alliance." Sujin nodded, but her expression remained serious. Winning the war was only the first step. Now they had to figure out how to govern a galaxy without becoming the same kind of tyrants they had fought to defeat. The real challenge was just beginning. In the aftermath of victory, the galaxy looked to humanity for leadership. The species that had broken the consortium's chains now faced their greatest challenge, governing fairly without becoming oppressors themselves. President Kim Han-ul addressed the Galactic Assembly from what had once been the consortium's throne room. Around her stood representatives of 43 liberated species, all waiting for humanity's decision. "We did not fight this war to become your rulers," she declared. "We fought so that no species would ever again bow to another's tyranny." Some human leaders disagreed. Admiral Cho Sang-wook argued for direct control, believing only human leadership could prevent another oppressive regime from rising. The debate divided humanity itself. The compromise came from an unexpected source, the alien allies themselves. They proposed the Terran Empire not as conquerors but as protectors. Humanity would guide and defend but never dictate. The Galactic Accords were signed under Earth's sun, establishing humanity as reluctant guardians of galactic peace. The Empire would rise, but it would be built on the principles that had won the war: cooperation, respect, and the unshakable belief that freedom was worth any sacrifice. As the ceremony ended and representatives returned to their worlds, Commander Zhang Hewan looked up at the stars that had once seemed so hostile. Now they held promise, and humanity would ensure that promise was kept. The Terran Empire was born not from conquest, but from the recognition that true strength came from protecting others' freedom rather than pursuing one's own power.